Civic leaders, business people, educators, and concerned citizens like you from all over our community are talking about how to solve our community's most persistent problems.
If you're someone who is achieving in life, is happy in life, is part of the community, and you line up 10 houses in a row where that's happening, that looks a lot different than where that's happening in every other house. At a very high dream level, I think we would all love to have a community where people are reading all the time about things that they're engaged in, continually improving their lives, and then contributing into the community what they've learned.
I close my eyes and I'm thinking of when I'm in a foreign country and I know absolutely nothing about what I'm seeing on that window. Imagine the situation that we're dealing with here in southern Arizona, where they actually live here and they're part of our community, and they look at that sign on the window and they just don't know what it means. That just boggles my mind. And so that fear of me having to accept that and putting myself in that situation is what empowers me. And I know it's the weirdest thing ever, but I can't imagine my neighbor having those experiences and those feelings of feeling lost.
Yeah, you feel disconnected, obviously.
Absolutely disconnected.
One of the reasons I live here is for the culture that has a mix of people who came from so many other places. That's what makes this a rich place to me. And if you have people who aren't participating because they're not able to, it not only affects the people who can't participate, but it affects me. It makes it less desirable for me to live in Tucson. I want that mix of cultures and different voices. And if I cannot hear them because they're unable to read, that affects all of us.
It makes a huge difference to catch children at an early age. Statistics and research show that when children arrive in kindergarten ready to read because they have those early literacy skills, they are much more literate at 3rd grade than the children who arrive without those early literacy skills. Children who arrive in kindergarten ready to read have a much higher graduation rate than children who don't. So catching them early is key.
Breaking that cycle. If literacy and reading is not important to the parents, it's probably not going to be important to the kids. We're not going to emphasize it to their infants.
That's where Literacy Connects comes in, because it really does take a village to bring somebody up. And you know, I mean, it's incumbent upon all of us to care about this issue because it is the biggest economic driver in our community.
We can't afford to have this young population dropping out of society.
Remember, not only are you losing them to helping our elders, but everybody that doesn't work is not contributing to the tax base.
Right.
Everybody that does not work is requiring more government services. And the fact of the matter is, we have a lot of catching up to do as a society with our government infrastructure and the things we're going to have to do in the future. And one way to make it so that can happen is to make sure that everybody's contributing.
So, Bobby Joe, you talked a little bit about how important it is to you to know that Southern Arizona is filled with diversity and community. That, to me, is why I think everybody wins with a Literacy Connects in our community. I think if you are going to empower our kids with the Stories That Soar program at Mission Manor Elementary, kids who might not ever get to share their story on a stage ever again, to people like my aunt who came here from Mexico and is still learning English and is taking our classes with Literacy Connects at our public libraries. That's a community where everybody wins when we're able to help that sense of place, identity, and community.